They say pride comes before a fall, but no one could have imagined how far Onyeagwalam, the man who claimed to know everything, would fall in both wisdom and humility. I'll never forget the day I watched him stranded on that bridge, sweat pouring down his face as he stared helplessly at his car, unable to solve a problem even a child could figure out. It was both unsettling and unforgettable. Let me take you back to the beginning of this tale, a story of pride, humility, and the surprises life holds. Onyeagwalam was a towering figure in our township, both literally and figuratively. With his tall, imposing frame and starched agbada, he walked with the confidence of a man who believed the world revolved around him. He was a self-proclaimed genius who prided himself on never needing advice. If there was a solution to be found, he already knew it, or so he claimed. "Ah, Professor Know-it-all," people would call out as he strolled past the market. He would pause, adjust his agbada, and reply with a smug smile. What can I say? Not everyone is blessed with a brain like mine. Onyeagwalam was not just proud, he was stubborn. If you dared to offer him advice, he'd scoff and dismiss you with a wave of his hand. "Don't insult me," he'd say. "I've already considered every possibility." Over time, people stopped trying to help him altogether. Why waste words on a man who wouldn't listen? Yet deep down, many of us wondered if his arrogance would one day catch up to him. It was a sweltering afternoon when it happened. The sun was blazing, and even the breeze felt like it carried heat. I was selling roasted corn by the riverbank when I spotted Onyeagwalam's shiny black car speeding toward the old bridge. The bridge was notorious for its shaky planks and rusting rails. Everyone in the township knew to approach it with caution. "Why is he driving so fast?" I muttered to myself. Moments later, a screech of tires echoed through the air, followed by a loud metallic thud. My heart skipped a beat. Dropping my basket, I rushed toward the bridge. By the time I arrived, a small crowd had already gathered. There he was, standing next to his car, visibly agitated. The vehicle leaned awkwardly to one side, its front tire completely flat. Onyeagwalam had already removed the flat tire and was fumbling with the spare. He placed the nuts he'd removed from the faulty tire on the bridge rail, balancing them precariously. It was a mistake waiting to happen. As he worked, the inevitable occurred. The nuts slipped from the rail and fell into the river below, disappearing with a faint splash. He froze, staring at the water as if sheer willpower could bring them back. For several moments, he didn't move. Then, with a frustrated groan, he began pacing. Minutes turned to hours. The crowd grew larger, but Onyeagwalam refused any offers of help. "Sir, do you need assistance?" one man asked hesitantly. "Do you think I need your advice?" Onyeagwalam snapped. "I know what I'm doing." Another passerby suggested calling for a mechanic, but he dismissed the idea with a scoff. "Don't insult my intelligence," he barked. "I can handle this." Meanwhile, the sun beat down mercilessly. Sweat dripped from his forehead as he muttered to himself, his frustration mounting. I watched from the sidelines, fascinated by the unraveling of his legendary composure. By late afternoon, a new figure joined the scene. It was Onyeagwalam, the township's madman. Wiry and dishevelled, Onyeagwalam was known for his eccentric behaviour. He often spoke to himself or chased invisible creatures, but today he seemed unusually focused. He perched on the edge of the bridge, his sharp eyes fixed on Onyeagwalam. After a few minutes, he began to chuckle. "I thought you were the man who knows everything," he called out, his voice loud and mocking. The crowd turned toward him, some laughing nervously. Onyeagwalam's head snapped up. "What did you say?" "I said," Onyeagwalam repeated, "if you're so smart, why are you stuck here all day?" Laughter rippled through the crowd. Onyeagwalam's face darkened. "Do you think this is a joke? Leave me alone, madman." But Onyeagwalam wasn't done. He stood brushing dirt off his ragged trousers. "I've been watching you since you got here," he said. and I've been wondering how a man so clever can't figure out such a simple problem. What would you know about cars? Onyeagwalam snapped. Onyeagwalam shrugged. Maybe nothing. But even I know this. You can take one nut from each of the other 3 tires and use them to secure the spare. That way, you can drive to a safer place and replace the missing nuts later. The crowd fell silent. The simplicity of the solution was stunning. Onyeagwalam stared at Onyeagwalam, his expression unreadable. Then, without a word, he crouched down and began loosening the nuts from the other tires. Within minutes, the spare tire was secured. He stood, dusted off his hands, and climbed into his car. He didn't look at Onyeagwalam or the crowd as he started the engine and drove off, leaving only the faint smell of exhaust behind. Onyeagwalam turned to the crowd, grinning. You see, he said, even the man who knows it all doesn't know everything. The crowd erupted in laughter, their voices carrying across the bridge. That evening, the tale of Onyeagwalam and the madman spread like wildfire. It became a favorite story, told around fires and at village gatherings. Whenever someone acted too proud, the villagers would say, "Don't be like Onyeagwalam on the bridge, the wise man that died in a foolish man's backyard." Moral of the story: pride blinds us to wisdom, even when it comes from unexpected places. Sometimes, the simplest solutions come from those we least expect. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the subscribe button and share your thoughts in the comments. Do you know someone like Onyeagwalam? Let's talk about it below. The end.